What if I told you that a single short poem could take us on a journey from the world we can all see all the way down to the very stuff that makes up reality itself? Well, today we're doing just that. We're going to unpack the science and the sheer wonder hidden inside this amazing piece of verse. So let's begin our journey into the unseen.
All right, so our journey kicks off right here with these two lines. They really set the stage. For like most of human history, biology was just, well, what you could see with your own eyes. The poem calls these macroscopic ensembles, which is just a fancy way of saying big stuff. And that's our starting point, the vast visible world.
So before we start diving deeper and deeper, let's just take a moment to really establish the boundaries of this world, the world the poem calls old biology.
I mean, this says it all, doesn't it? An elephant and a bee, they're obviously on completely different scales. But to early science, they were basically the same kind of thing, just visible structures made of, grouped cellular segments. That was it. That was the absolute limit of what we could see.
But here's where it gets interesting. The poem tells us that humanity got, well, unhappy with just seeing the big stuff. We knew there was more out there, hiding just out of sight. And that feeling, that dissatisfaction, it sparked a quest for a totally new way of seeing, a way to actually partition the meter itself.
So this was the big challenge, right? The poem talks about this growing frustration with seeing things in poor resolution. It's like we were all staring at the world through a frosted window. There's a universe of incredible detail on the other side, but you just can't make it out. So the question became, how do we wipe that window clean? How do we finally pull back that veil?
And here is the poem's answer. It's so beautifully simple, but so incredibly powerful. See, the solution wasn't some single complicated invention. It was a revolutionary idea. To take our standard unit of measurement, the meter, and just break it down. To systematically chop it up into smaller and smaller and smaller pieces.
This is what the poem calls the metrical cascade. What a cool phrase, right? It's a journey of descending billions of magnitude orders. We start at milli, a thousandth, then jump to micro, a millionth, then nano, a billionth, and we just keep going. And look, each step isn't just a little bit smaller. It's a 1,000-fold leap further down. It's like taking one step and landing on a completely different planet.
So, now that we've partitioned the meter, our journey takes us to our first incredible stop, the busy, hidden world right inside our own cells.
So what was the big payoff for all this work? Well, with new technology, we could finally get what the poem calls an intra-organelle vision. For the very first time, we could actually see inside the tiny little machines that run our cells, right there at that magical border where the microworld and the nanoworld meet.
Okay, let's just ground ourselves for a second, because this scale is kind of nuts. A nanometer is 1/1000th of a meter. A single strand of uDNA, that's about 2.5 nanometers wide. To put that in perspective, a regular sheet of paper is about 100,000 nanometers thick. We are talking about a scale so small, it's almost impossible to imagine.
But of course, we didn't stop there. We pushed even deeper, and the view just got more and more breathtaking. We started seeing these three-dimensional biomolecular tangles, finally getting a look at the complex, folded shapes of proteins, which the poem calls so beautifully convoluted protein ribbons.
And here's the key thing. Seeing all this amazing detail wasn't free. It meant we had to partition the meter even more, going all the way down to the pico and femto scales. And with each new level we unlocked, another deeper layer of nature's insane complexity just revealed itself to us.
This incredible journey down the metrical cascade has one final destination. This is the ultimate prize in our quest to see the unseen, the individual atom itself.
So the poem lays out the final challenge. It's one thing to see a molecule, which is made of a bunch of atoms, but it is a whole other ballgame to capture single atoms on parade, to actually see the fundamental Lego bricks of matter itself.
And to see that, you have to get to the attometer. That's 1/quintillionth of a meter. It's a 1 with 18 zeros after the decimal point. It's a number so small, it just completely breaks your brain. If an atom were the size of a giant football stadium, the part we're talking about seeing here would be like a single marble sitting on the 50-yard line. It's just staggering.
I mean, really think about the sheer scale of this journey. We started with an elephant, something we can see and touch. And now, just by relentlessly slicing up the meter, we've gotten to a place where we can literally watch individual atoms. The conceptual distance we've traveled it's just almost beyond imagination.
And what do we find when we finally get to this impossibly small scale? Well, the poem describes it perfectly. It isn't a static, boring picture. It is a dynamic, cosmic dance. It's a minuscule ballet where all the motion and energy of the universe's tiniest pieces are finally revealed.
So we've taken the journey, we've seen the sights. But the poem's final lines answer the most important question of all. Why? What on earth made us do all this?
The end of the poem is this incredible tribute to what drives us. It says that this whole journey, this almost godlike power to see into the heart of matter, it doesn't come from some outside force. It comes from something deep inside us, something that lets us pull back the curtain on nature and stare right into its deepest secrets. And what is that one single source? It's not genius or technology, not really. It's what the poem calls human latent zest. I love that phrase. It's our curiosity, isn't it? Our innate, unstoppable drive to know, to see, and to understand. That one quality is responsible for this entire unbelievable journey.
And so, the poem leaves us right here, standing at the very edge of what we know, with this incredible power to stare into the heart of reality. It's taken us from the elephant all the way down to the atom, but the journey's not over. That latent zest is still burning, which leaves us with one final fascinating question to think about. What will we see next?